Have you ever been told by your doctor that there's nothing more they can do to help your condition? If so, you understand that it can be a disheartening and frustrating experience. What's a woman to do? On today's show, I had the privilege of interviewing Autumn McLees. She shares how not being offered a solution turned into a revolution, empowering her to turn her health around against all odds. So, friend, if you're ready to discover holistic practices to recover your health and happiness, then grab a notebook and pen and let's dive in. Hey friend, welcome to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. Are you struggling with low energy, excessive weight, chronic fatigue, imbalanced hormones, or body aches and pains that are robbing you of enjoying life? If you're ready to take the guesswork out of living a healthier life, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Rakesia. I'm a mom, honorably retired Air Force veteran, award-winning author, social worker, and Christian alternative medicine provider. For years, I tried improving my health through conventional medicine and nothing worked until I finally found a simple strategy that was easy and fun. This podcast will provide you with natural ways to increase energy, lose weight, regulate hormones, and improve your mood. If you're ready to live, look, and feel better, grab your favorite cup of herbal tea and let's jump in. Welcome to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health, where we explore powerful, natural ways to achieve vibrant health. In today's episode, I'm joined by Autumn McLees to discuss alternative medicine and how it played a crucial role in reversing an autoimmune disorder. Stay tuned as we dive into this transformative journey and the healing potential of integrative approaches. As always, whether you're a returning listener or brand new, I appreciate you for joining me. Welcome to the show. On this podcast, I share how to use food as medicine, along with practical strategies infused with biblical wisdom to boost energy, lose weight, and balance hormones. Don't forget to review and subscribe to ensure that you receive notifications on all of the latest content. One of the things that I enjoy doing on this podcast is interviewing other health professionals. And in this episode, I had the privilege of speaking with Autumn McLees, who is a true champion of holistic health. Autumn has successfully overcome an incurable autoimmune disease through the power of alternative medicine, and she passionately shares her journey and insights. As the host of her podcast, Know Better, Do Better, she is known as the Alternative Rebel. Autumn challenges conventional health narratives and constructs them with blunt, hard-hitting holistic truths. Her show isn't just a podcast, it's a rebellion against mainstream health myths that have misled too many people far too long. I hope that you enjoy this interview just as much as I did doing it. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's embark on this healing journey together. Welcome to the show, Autumn.
Oh, Rakesia, it is such an honor to be here. Thanks so much for having me here with your incredible audience.
Oh, I am so looking forward to hosting you on the show today.
Well, it's exciting. We've got lots to talk about, right?
We do. And so I know that you shared that, your passion is to live out the power as seen by the fruit of holistic health due to your own journey with an incurable autoimmune disease. So can you kind of share your story, Autumn?
Absolutely. So there might be some people that can relate in the sense that you go to the doctor, you get a diagnosis, you're told they don't know why you have this, they don't know how you got it, and unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to take a medication and have a nice life. And I feel as though that is unfortunately all too common today. This was me back 14 to 15 years ago when I was told I had this, it's actually a vaginal autoimmune disease that would affect me being able to give birth to another baby in the future. It was causing problems, as you can imagine, physically within my marriage, and just a very disruptive condition that apparently many people have. You can get it at different places on the body. And I was told that it's getting younger and younger, that even like 8-year-olds can wind up with this. It's called lichen sclerosis. Now, the doctor didn't call it an autoimmune disease. He just called it lichen sclerosis. But when he told me that there was nothing that I could do other than take a medication and have a nice life, that's when I said, no, there has got to be another way. There has got to be other options. I can't believe that God just made us to live in this place of sickness and have no other options. Like, we were made for more. This isn't how we're supposed to feel or what we're supposed to be struggling with. And so I was willing to look outside the box. I had just woken up to some information, which you're going to laugh, but it started with this infomercial. One morning, this was probably a couple years prior to this diagnosis, I was like folding laundry and just like have the TV on, and this random infomercial comes on of this book they called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. And he was talking about all sorts of, things, and it really intrigued me. And I don't think I have ever, even still to this day, bought anything off of an infomercial, but I'm like, I gotta have this book. So I bought it. I couldn't put it down. And I learned so many things. And that was kind of my point of awakening. Now, not everybody gets that awakening. Maybe some are going to listen to this episode and have their awakening through my story. And I pray that's the case. But I learned in this book that then sent me into even more research that there are ingredients in our food that are contributing to our demise. We can't trust big brands. We can't trust packaged foods. If we don't wake up and look at what we're consuming, we're just going to be a sheep to the slaughterhouse. And that's essentially where I felt like I was headed. If I did not wake up and take responsibility and control over what I could, that I was just going to fall prey to the system and have to take this medication. And guess what? This medication came with more side effects that would ultimately worsen my condition. I don't even know how that makes sense, because it's supposed to help, but then the side effects are that it could worsen it. And so it's just craziness of what we have to deal with oftentimes in mainstream medicine. So that was beginning of my journey. It sent me into searching out a functional medicine doctor, which is basically like a holistic based practitioner. There's so many different options out there. I mean, I've met mainstream medical doctors that have then gone more the holistic route. There's functional medicine and naturopathic medicine and all of that. But she basically looked at my circumstances. She ran some more blood work, which the doctor did not run and was not willing to run, and didn't even know what to look for if he were to run more blood work. And she found autoimmune levels that were equal to someone with lupus. Now, I did not have lupus. I didn't have all the other symptoms that go along with it, and some of the other blood markers didn't match up, but this one did. And she said, this is a pretty big deal. And I said, well, can you help me? And she said, yeah, I really believe we can. So long story short, in 4 months after changing my diet, getting real serious about it, eliminating certain things that inflame the body, kind of getting rid of the interference that keeps our body from healing, because our bodies are always trying to heal. And that's their natural processes. They're trying to, but we might not be giving it the tools that it needs, or we might have some sort of, interference. So that could be a toxin or even an emotional situation. But for me, it happened to be very much rooted in diet. And when I changed that, I got out of my own body's way, and we watch it reverse this like vaginal circumstance, which I say this often. It's so crazy to me that what I put in my mouth can actually correlate with down south. And it was just mind blowing. And so it actually within a first month, I saw a difference and experienced some relief. And then at the 4-month mark, we reran some blood work, and my levels were basically normal at that point. And she said, okay, you're good to have baby number 2, because that's what I was ultimately going for. So, part of what I was going for, but that was my first experience that built my belief, showed me what is possible, and the rest of the world needs to wake up and realize that you have more control than what you think. And I feel like so many times we just feel like a victim. The victim mentality will defeat you. When you believe there's nothing you did to contribute to your problems, and there's nothing you can do to help yourself outside of take a drug or show up to a doctor's appointment, then you truly have become a victim. So it's choose your hard. And I was willing to choose my hard and do the hard work and climb myself out of this hole, out of this rut in life. And boy, did it pay off. And here I am today to share more about it.
Wow, what an incredible testimony, Autumn. And one of the things that you shared that I hear this so often, that, and I'll refer to a scripture. It says that the life of all living creatures is in the blood, right? So if the life, strength, vitality, and health is in the blood, many health practitioners do not go back to the foundation of our health, which is rooted in the blood.
Amen, girl.
And so the simple test that the doctor, she ran it for you, and immediately she saw what was going on in your body. And so, ladies, as you are listening to this, if you have not had blood work completed by whether it's a functional doctor, someone who's going to get to the heart and the core and the root of what is going on with you, the life is in the blood.
Yes. And that's truly what we need to look at to understand what is going on with the body. It gives so many clues and sometimes straight answers. And then that allows us to be able to go and address it.
Yeah, something else that you said, that it is time for us to wake up. I love that you said that, because it is, especially here, like in the Western world, modern medicine as we know it, it is as if we are walking in a sleep-like state or in a zombie-like state, and not awaken to the fact that we can advocate for our health. There are things that we can do, because when we give the body what it needs, it has the miraculous ability to heal itself.
Absolutely. And we have a problem when we're more trusting in our doctors than we are in the ability of our own body.
Yes. And that's such a great point that you bring up too, because we have literally placed total trust in what doctors are saying. And again, I've, work in the medical profession. I've been treated by some wonderful doctors, but when it comes to the point to where we're not looking beyond that or even looking for alternatives regarding our health and just putting all of our eggs in one basket and accepting that as your fate. Because thinking about you, Autumn, if you would have taken that and said, well, there's nothing more that I can do. I'm just going to have to live with this. This illness is just going to be a part of my life. That could have been the position.
Mm-hmm. Truly. And that would have completely affected the direction that my life ended up taking because I chose what some may call the harder path. But in reality, in my opinion, the harder path would have been living on the medication that then comes with the side effects, that then sometimes the side effects then require another medication. And then you just fall into this downward spiral of dependency upon chemicals and never fixing the root of the issue. Because I'll just say, because of what I chose to do, I went on to have my daughter. So my son was actually a C-section, side note. My daughter, I was able to give birth naturally, and we actually had a home birth, which that's a whole nother podcast episode. But I didn't even tear. And I would have shred and torn to pieces, just take my word for it, if I would have not addressed it naturally and allowed my body to heal. But the beautiful part about that is that sent me into birth work. And so now I've been a birth doula for about 11 years. Wow. And I've been able to go on and to live out a new passion and a mission to help women achieve the birth that they want. And most of the time I get hired because they want more of a natural birth. But and then I've been able to have the impact on other women. So it's just amazing how when you make a choice that's not the conventional, typical route, and you are the one that is willing to get gritty with your circumstances and do the hard things, beautiful things can come from that.
And I love, your experience of what you went through because you made that choice. Now there are so many women and even children and families who have benefited from you choosing the hard thing. Because sometimes, we do have to make that decision to do what's hard, but there's the reward that's beyond doing that hard thing.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so you said that when you worked with your functional doctor, you changed your eating habits. What were some other things that you made changes in your life in Autumn to experience that total healing?
Well, let's just say eating was a big one. So for my circumstances and for this particular doctor, she recommended that I remove all gluten and that I get off dairy. And I actually did a bit of a candida diet for a while because she felt like I had too much candida as well. And that's, for those listening, if you don't know, that's like an overgrowth that many of us can have, and it can show up in various different ways. But diets and just sticking to the process of living healthy. And it took some mindset shifts, but ultimately, I mean, gosh, I would say my body recovered pretty quickly. It ate up all the good nutrition and the new, she gave me a couple supplements based on my blood work of what my body needed and based on what appeared to be lacking. And, my body just straightened itself right out and went to work. This, newest health journey that I've been on. Now this one more recently that we can get into if you'd like at some point, but this has really taken me on a journey of awakening that I'm still walking through, but I'm not giving up. And, it's actually a beautiful metamorphosis of a process when you're willing to do the hard work.
Mm. And when you said, the metamorphosis of a process, I definitely would like to get into that. Sometimes I think our journey is like a puzzle, right? It's all these pieces that are there, but the pieces are put together a little bit at a time. And then at the end, when the whole puzzle, the whole picture comes together, it's like, oh, okay, God, this is this is
Mm-hmm.
related to everything that I have been through to create this beautiful picture of what this was meant to be.
Yes.
And all of
Yes.
the pieces are interconnected along the way, along the path, the journey. And so you shared that there was another experience. Let's dive into that.
Right. So just to revisit, medical doctors are not trained to cure our condition. They practice disease management. Some would say they wouldn't even consider that true healthcare, right? And I feel like I have more and more sided with that, and maybe become a bit more extreme. And maybe for those listening, maybe they're not there yet. But the more I have continued to see, um, it, I just become a believer. I'll share a quick story off topic to yet again inspire. We have a friend, her husband got diagnosed with late stage cirrhosis. They said it was irreversible. He had probably about 2 years to live. I actually helped them before they could even find a holistic practitioner. I helped them hone in on making some major changes immediately right after he got out of the emergency room, and then help them find a holistic practitioner. But in this process, I think it's been about 4 or 5 months, he went from being pretty high up on what they call the MELD score chart for cirrhosis, which is for late stage. And now his liver has healed, and he is just 1 point away from being removed off of that MELD score chart. So for those listening, that is the power. When mainstream medical says it's not possible, you just go and challenge them and say, I believe it might be possible. So with my circumstances, about 3 years ago, I got this very random, mysterious diagnosis of what many know as hepatitis C. And it's very much out of left field for those people that know me. I have not lived a promiscuous life at all. In fact, I'm probably the last person on earth that feels like I should have this. My husband and I, we have only been with each other. He doesn't have it. I've never done a drug in my life. You get it typically through like needle sharing or, mischievous types of behaviors. You can also get it through tattoos, but I don't have a tattoo, and blood transfusions, and those types of things. And so it was very, very mysterious, and very disturbing when I got such a diagnosis, because I'm like, there is no explanation for how I could even have this. But we reran, I've had many tests over the past 3 years. So the mainstream medicine says this is what I have. It affects the liver. There is, I think it's like 50 million people that are said to have it. It can end up being a deadly disease, for those that it eventually turns into cirrhosis and can be a problem. So I haven't entirely said no to the medication, because they want to put you on medication. But let's just say I'm not saying yes right away. I have some things that I have been trying. I've been turning over every rock and stone to see what is possible, or if we can get to the root of this.
Mm-hmm.
I've along the way have had about 4 practitioners that, since the pandemic, have woken up to this whole viral theory, which apparently viruses are still very much a theory, some would say. And they've told me, Autumn, there is no isolated virus for hepatitis C. Therefore, you don't have hepatitis C. You do have inflammation of the liver. And that's what we need to be looking into, as to why your liver is inflamed. Has it been poisoned in some way, where you have come across such a strong toxin that it has like damaged your liver and it's in a slow repair mode. So that's kind of the gist of what we're looking at. And I've done so many different incredible alternative health modalities that have been amazing. And I have also had to look at the nervous system component of illness. And the one thing that I do know is that prior to getting this diagnosis, I am very passionate about some of the work that I do. I partnered with a supplement company and had been there for many, many years. And let's just say I worked really hard and I worked too much. And so I have to take responsibility that I didn't do a very good job at tending to my nervous system, to, taking time to calm down, to even be mindful of some of my feelings and my emotions, and taking time out to exercise, to breathe, to just be, a balanced human that, can be a mom and can work and can enjoy life. So I've had to do some hard things, and that means going inward to get back in touch with my nervous system. And part of that looks like possibly digging up past traumas, looking at, things that stem back from maybe even childhood. And it's been quite the awakening process. And so whether or not one of these things is going to lead to a cure just on the other side of this mountain that I'm climbing, maybe. But if not, I am so grateful for this journey, because it would have never taken me on this path that I am currently on, learning about all these incredible modalities, from IVs to something called Bowen therapy to microcurrent therapy, and then now this nervous system brain rewiring coaching that I'm getting.
I am just really processing the things that you shared, from the hepatitis C and not really being classified as an actual virus, where so many have been diagnosed with this, Autumn. And really, whether it's on the medications that they're on, it's not really healing the body. And I think for you, the pinpoint of your liver being inflamed, and okay, let's find out why the liver is responding in this manner, versus putting someone on a medication that's not healing the root cause of this diagnosis, as they put it, with the hepatitis C.
Mm-hmm.
And so, exploring and finding out all of these different modalities has been pivotal for you. I love the fact that you shared that you had to take personal responsibility for overworking, not keeping your body in a state of calm. And I think a lot of times, Autumn, like, we don't come to that place where we take personal responsibility for what we do to our temples, what we do to our bodies. But I think that's an essential point, that we do have to take time to do that inner reflection, to say, okay, is there something that I've done, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, to bring my body into this current state of imbalance that it's in right now?
Yes, absolutely. I heard a quote that says you cannot beg God to heal you and then stay loyal to what is killing you.
Can you please repeat that again, Autumn?
You cannot beg God to heal you and then stay loyal to what is killing you.
Wow, that is so powerful. And so we've got to make the necessary changes. We've got to move into a different space, a different avenue, to really again, move and to change the direction that's detrimental to our health. I really want to learn a little bit more about this nervous system rewiring because anxiety, Autumn, is like at an all-time high where people are just anxious all of the time, busy all of the time. So if someone were to come to you and say, Autumn, like, I really need help in this area to rewire my nervous system, what would that look like for someone?
Hmm. Well, I will say that I have a coach. She has been trained in this and been at it for, I want to say like 12 years. And it's a technique that started, I believe, back in the 70s. And it it does involve some physical things that you do. Let's just start with this. Your nervous system and your vagal nerve, which is the longest nerve in the body that is greatly affected by your nervous system, they really work like hand in hand. And when your vagal nerve like needs a reset, it's usually because you've been under stress, anxiety, fear, like all the different emotions that come in. And there's a gal that she's an author and a speaker. She has a book called What Happens in Your Soul Happens in Your Cells. It's put out by Susie Larson. And so if you could picture that concept of your emotions that you're feeling, every cell in your body is being affected by that in some way. And so ultimately, if your nervous system is in fight or flight all the time and it never gets to be in rest and digest or that parasympathetic state, then how are you able to heal? So this method of coaching, they take you through, it can go all the way back to childhood. It can be something that happened last week. And we really check in with the feelings that you're feeling from that moment or that stressful event. What are you feeling? And if it's something back in your childhood, you actually go back to picture yourself in that place where you were hurt or you were traumatized. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do, but over time, you get to revisit these moments and understand what your body is feeling and why it might be feeling that. So, for example, like you could say a father was yelling at his daughter and, got home from work every night and we'll say like got really mad at her for no reason because he just had a bad day. Well, she will have a nervous system response to that, and she will grow up with certain coping mechanisms that are not necessarily healthy, but in her young self, she needs to learn how to survive and can't make sense out of what's happening to her, especially if it's not justified or there's no reason, or even if it is justified. Sometimes it's just too much of a heavy emotional response for someone. And so this could be, with someone that passed, that it was traumatic and that person was a part of it, whatever that looks like. But you basically revisit that and work on processing those feelings, seeing what your body needs, what emotions you're lacking, what emotions were actually just you trying to survive that moment. And there's some physical things that you do with your mouth and your tongue to help kind of reset that vagal nerve and your vagal tone. And you take that and you start applying that in the day in and the day out. And you have to do the hard work in the day in and the day out. Check in with yourself. How are you feeling? And start to actually be aware. And I was so amazed at, wow, like I feel a bit anxious right now, or I am holding my breath a bit because I've got so much to do. I've got a long to-do list today. Hold on, Autumn. Let's stop. Why am I holding my breath? Let's take some deep breaths. Let's get some perspective right now. And so we're just so busy running through our day that we forget to check in with ourselves. And so all that to say, that's a glimpse of what it looks like.
Oh, that sounds so good. So it's really bringing ourselves into a higher state of awareness in listening to our bodies. Sometimes I say that our body has a language and we have to learn what it's speaking. And
Mm.
when it's speaking, we need to give it what it needs, and whether that's a break to just catch our breath and to really be in tune with why the body is responding in a certain way, because some of the illnesses that we may be experiencing are as a result of from what has been trapped or kept more or less within the nervous system or within the body.
So well said. Absolutely. And part of the reason why I stepped into this is because they had shared when I met the girls. She was actually referred to me by a friend, and the friend just raved about it. And there are so many conditions that are deemed incurable that even just addressing the nervous system, mind you, she does guide you a bit in the diet. She might recommend a supplement or two. So we have some like physical support going on, right? But for so many people, the interference as to why they can't heal is their nervous system.
Mm.
And when you get the nervous system back in check, it's in rest and digest. Guess what? The body can function optimally. It can function how it was intended, and it is able to now gain the upper hand to come in and address that issue. As she puts it, if you have been told that, if you step into holistic medicine and you do the diets and you do all the supplements and you do all the things and you're still not getting better, look to the nervous system.
Mm. That's so good, because you know what? That's so on point, Autumn, because we could be doing all the things physically, but there's some underlying emotional issues, things that we have to address, because it's not going to go away, and we can't properly heal if we do not um, really take those things head on. So that
Mm-hmm.
is, again, a major part of our healing.
Absolutely.
Hmm. Wow. And so, Autumn, your story, your testimony has been amazing. And I believe that you also have a podcast too that evolved out of all of your experience. So for those that want to listen in to your show, where can they tune in on your podcast?
Yes, it is just as you said, this journey has brought about a podcast has evolved out of it, and it's been such a joy. It's called Know Better, Do Better, and it is located on all platforms. And I have officially kind of deemed myself the alternative rebel because I do things always alternatively outside of mainstream conventional ways. And so you're going to find a lot of topics over there that, challenge mainstream narratives, and from food brands that are clean to holistic practitioners that are bringing hope and perspective and testimonies, to sometimes we'll dabble into, some birth related topics and awareness that people need to know about, um, parenting, and even sometimes some like spiritual warfare type topics and knowing better and doing better. So we have a
Mhm.
great time over there, but thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, outside of the podcast, if someone really wants to connect with you, Autumn, and they're just listening to your story, your journey, where can they find you?
Well, social media is a good place. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at autumn.mclees. And I also have a website, autumnmclees.com. And I also am doing, I have a mentorship program that I've been able to help people with in getting started in their health journey, kind of acting as their guide to get them started off on the right foot when it comes to cleaning up their life, cleaning up their home, cleaning up their personal care products, as well as I am a certified high performance coach. So we're able to incorporate some of the emotional, coaching and awareness into some of those. And then I have a free guide. It's a clean swap guide that I can give you the link we can put in the show notes, but it's kind of a little kickstart to people that want to do better. And so I have some clean laundry detergent and shampoos and, some food items and water filters and even a candle on there that helps fight mold in the air.
That's awesome. We'll definitely be dropping that link in the show notes. So for those of you that want your clean living swap guide, you'll be able to access that in the show notes. And so are there any parting words that you would like to share with our audience, Autumn?
I just want to encourage people to truly believe that the body is far wiser than any doctor or scientist. And I just want to instill that it's always trying to heal. And when you're able to change some of the aspects in your life that are creating that interference and find the right practitioner that can come alongside you and help guide you and look at that blood work like we talked about, and you're willing to apply yourself and do some of those hard things, there is so much incredible change and possibly even for many a whole different life that awaits you on the other side of just taking a bit more control in this regard. As you said, our bodies are temple, and so we do have a responsibility with that.
Autumn, it has been absolutely wonderful to host you on the show today.
I am just so grateful. You are such a beautiful soul with your mission and all that you're doing to help people and all the awareness you're bringing. So it's truly my honor. Thank you so much for having me on.
So let's wrap it all up. I hope that you were encouraged by Autumn's testimony. By applying holistic practices to include dietary changes, exercise, and adequate rest, when we give our bodies what they need, they have the miraculous ability to heal themselves. If you'd like to know more about Autumn, I've placed her website link in today's show notes. It's been great having you with me this week for another episode of Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. I'll leave you with Daniel chapter 1, verses 12 to 15. Test your servants for 10 days. Let us be given vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then let our appearance and the appearance of the youths who eat the king's food be observed by you, and deal with your servants according to what you see. So we listened to them in this matter and tested them for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, it was seen that they were better in appearance and fatter in flesh than all the youths who ate the king's food. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may want to have more energy and improve their health naturally? Also, I would love it if you could leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It blesses me tremendously to know that this podcast is helping you. Alrighty then, it's time to go make a protein shake and go for a hike. No more days of feeling tired and drained. I'll see you in a few days for another episode. God bless.